My name is James Bona, and I'm here to take you on today's business tip. Today, we are going to be looking at the things that you need to note when starting a business. The first thing that you need to know is that you must never entertain fear. Just go ahead and start. Fear is a crippling force that renders anyone who entertains it incapacitated. Now, this is true in every human endeavor, and business is not an exception. There are many fearful what-ifs that we have entertained which have limited our productivity. It is about time we change them to what if not. You have heard people say, what if I fail? Why don't you turn it around? What if I do not fail? People will say, what if I go broke? Why don't you flip the coin and say, what if I do not go broke? Some have said, what if people laugh at me? Why don't you say, what if people do not laugh at me? Henry Ford has this to say: one of the greatest discovery a person makes, one of their great surprises is to find they can do what they were afraid they couldn't do. Let's look at Mark Twain's submission. He said, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. In the book of Proverbs chapter 22, verse 13, the Bible says, the slothful man saith, there is a lion without, I shall be slain in the streets. In chapter 26 and verse 13 of the same book of Proverbs, it said, the slothful man saith, there is a lion in the way. A lion is in the street. Now, who told this man that there is a lion in the way or in the street? It is simply fear. Now, when you look at fear, fear is just false evidence appearing real. So I challenge you, stand up to your fears and conquer them, and you will be amazed at the positive outcome. Now, the second thing you need to put into consideration when planning to start a business is that you must plan, you must prepare, and you must persist. Planning, preparation, and persistence are keys to the success of any business. Failing to plan is planning to fail, no doubt about that. You cannot just do anything or start anything without proper planning. Proper planning, they say, prevents poor performance. You must prepare yourself for whatever business you want to venture into. You must prepare in the following ways. You must prepare spiritually, you must prepare mentally, you must prepare psychologically, you must prepare emotionally, financially, and you must prepare physically. Now, that you fail once does not mean you will keep failing. That's a lie. That something is whispering to you. It is better to fail in what will eventually succeed than to succeed in what will eventually fail. So keep on keeping on. However, you must take note that you must plan in the right direction. Don't ever persist in what's already a failed effort from the start. In the words of Abraham Lincoln, he said, if I had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend 6 hours sharpening my axe. Now, that is preparation. That is planning. Napoleon Hill said, the successful leader must plan his work and work his plan. He said further that riches do not respond to wishes. They respond only to definite plans that are backed up by definite desires through constant persistence. If you look at the book of Luke chapter 14, verse 28, Jesus said, for which of you intended to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counted the cost, whether he has sufficient to finish it. So before you venture into any business, make sure you plan, make sure you prepare, and then persist through it. Now, the third thing we're going to look at when starting a business is that you must never despise any idea. Things that will become great or successful will not appear great or encouraging to start with. Great trees have small seed. So never despise any small idea. You may not be able to execute it immediately, or the timing may not be right, but never despise any business idea. Now, you need to note that the idea may not necessarily come from you. It could come from someone else. Now, in the words of Napoleon Hill, he said, all achievements, all earned riches have their beginning in an idea. And when you look at the book of Job chapter 8 and verse 7, it says, though thy beginning was small, yet thy latter end should greatly increase. And in Zechariah 4:10, it says, for who has despised the days of small beginnings? So don't despise that small days. In the book of Matthew chapter 13, verses 31 through 32, Jesus put forth a parable, and he said to them, the kingdom of heaven is like to a grain of mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field, which indeed is the least of all seeds, but when it is grown, it is the greatest among herbs, and it becometh a tree, so that the birds of the air can lodge in the branches thereof. So walk on that idea that you call small, and in time to come, who knows, it might become a big deal. The next thing you need to take note when beginning a business is that you must be willing to take risks. It has been said that nothing ventured, nothing gained. If you are unwilling to risk the unusual, you have settled for the ordinary. That is the words of Jim Rohn. And he said also, it is either you run the day or the day runs you. So you don't have any option. It's either you do it or you don't do it. So you must learn to take risks. Now, one of the reasons why many people do not like to take risks is because of the fear of the unknown. And we have addressed this earlier on. Now, you must understand and know that everything in life is a risk. It is even risky not to take a risk. However, you must take calculated and informed risk. There's a story in the book of 2 Kings chapter 7 and verses 3 through 4. The Bible says, and there were 4 leprous men at the entering in of the gate, and they said one to another, why sit we here till we die? If we say we will enter into the city, then the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit here still, we die also. Now, they were in between the devil and the deep blue sea, but they had to just take a risk. Look at what they said. Now therefore come, let us fall into the host of the Syrians. If they save us alive, we shall live. And if they kill us, we shall but die. Now, if you read the story further, they went ahead, they got into the city, there was a miraculous intervention, and the enemy was no more there. And then they happened upon spoils of the war, food, water, riches, gold, clothing, and so on and so forth. And then they never died. They didn't allow the fear of death to stop them. So don't allow anything to stop you. Take that calculated and informed risk today. The fifth thing that you need to put into consideration when you are starting a business is that you must decide and understand the type of business endeavor you want to do. There are many business that people can do. There are many types of businesses that people can do. They are not in the same genre. You can do buying and selling if you are good at that. However, you may not be good at buying and selling. Yours could be service provision. You may want to monetize your value. So that could be the kind of business you can do. Another thing is that you should ask yourself, should I go into investment? Now, investments are very foundational. Even for everyone, everybody, whether you are in business or not, you must learn to invest. Another side of business you can consider is partnership. It is not everyone who can do well on their own until they partner with another individual. So you must identify people in the line of your business, either they are around your vicinity or not, and you must partner with them. That way you may be able to make that big break. And finally, you should ask yourself, do you want to go into referral business? Now, this is a commission-based business that you commonly find in network businesses. That is, you refer people, and in referring people, you get your own cut, you get your own profit, you get your own gain. There is a company A that is looking for palm oil. You don't have palm oil. You don't grow palm oil, but you know somebody who has palm oil. You can simply connect them, and in that process, you take a percentage. That could be the kind of business you must be able to do. And there are so many kinds of businesses that you can do. So you must choose wisely which one you should go into. Thank you very much for watching. See you around.